What up, y'all? I'm Naomi.
And I'm Andy. We're a real-life couple and a real-life couple of comedians. You know Naomi from Two Dope Queens in Broad City.
And Andy's written for everyone from Pete Holmes to Cedric the Entertainer.
And we're also the hosts of the new comedy podcast Couples Therapy, which features stand-up comedians who are close doing sets together about their relationship.
You'll hear from siblings who shouldn't be roommates, married couples who hate each other's moms, and co-hosts who've become codependent.
Episodes feature everyone from SNL's Sashir Zameda and Nailed It's Nicole Byer to Daily Show correspondents Ronnie Chang and Roy Wood Jr.
Not to mention First Wives Club's Michelle Buteau, Danielle Brooks from Orange is the New Black, and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend's Rachel Bloom.
And many more.
It's like if therapy was funny and there wasn't a copay. Download it on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Now.
This is Incredible Health with Dr. David Vitko.
Good morning, my friends. You're listening to Enjoy Incredible Health with me, your host, Dr. David Vitko. I'm a chiropractic physician with 34 years experience helping your friends and families beat their health issues so they can live healthier, happier lives. I started out the morning here with a chuckle because I got Viking in the studio with me, and he's great fun, always good for a laugh, and got me off on the right foot. Go ahead, you have something to say?
I was just going to say thanks, Dave, but it's your stage, baby.
Well, I appreciate that.
But you know what? One of these nights, maybe we should go down and do some stand-up, maybe try the improv.
I'm not sure I could handle that. But
a lot of people don't realize this about you, David, but you're a funny guy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to be serious today. Thanks anyway. But this is a tough show for me, folks. I always I listen to Rush Limbaugh from time to time, and I always hear him say, the biggest risk any host ever takes on the radio, letting people call in with their questions, unscripted, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell you, this is a big risk for me, what I'm going to do today, but I really feel compelled to do it because this show is all about helping you to be healthier and to understand the nuances of health that a lot of people may not think about. But these are the kinds of things that I spend just hours and hours every day studying, trying to understand, and working to find ways to help people get better. And so I consider all of you my friends, and as such, I need to share with you a health issue that I've been dealing with for several months. So like most people, I've been putting off accepting the fact that it might be just a little more that I can handle on my own, but that's not going to stop me from trying. And but I want you to be aware of it, and it's been a big issue for me for several months, and so I need to share this. So don't get me wrong, I have total faith in this spectacular healing design of the human body. I'll never lose my faith in that. It's totally incredible in its ability to heal pretty much every health issue that will come along. I'm living proof of that, and I'm testing that yet again as we speak. So diet alone, even the healthiest diet on earth, does not make you superhuman. There are still issues that can flare up that can cause a problem, and that's what we'll get into here today. So there are things that might require the help of a skilled medical professional from time to time in making significant changes to restore better function, and allow your body to work in order to work in a way that your body can restore health. Sometimes there are little stumbling blocks that need to be removed, and I found that to be true, and most of those stumbling blocks are things that we put in place ourselves. So I've told you many times that I have the greatest respect for physicians, nurses, and all the amazing, highly trained medical professionals. I just am in awe at the work they do, and they've saved my butt several times. So that's what this show's about. It's about motivating and educating you to take responsibility for yourselves, and whether that involves getting some kind of medical treatment or whether it involves, really buckling down and making the significant effort that's necessary to achieve higher health. It's on us, folks. I often like to blame modern medicine for not really fulfilling their charge in keeping us healthy. They have missed that target. There's no question. But they do great things to pull our foot out of an early grave, and they do that often every day with people across the country and around the world. But they failed to promote that diet and lifestyle that truly gives us a better chance at enjoying incredible health our entire life and giving us a better chance to extend that life. There's no guarantees in life, ever. But I'm telling you that a whole food, plant-based diet is many times the magical answer to troublesome health issues. Health is ours for the taking, truly. All we need to do is to eat the foods our body is designed to thrive on and avoid foods that harm us and exercise a little bit. That's it. That's what it takes. Don't poison your body into bad health. The body is automatic in its effort to keep us healthy when we live this way. Automatic. No effort on our part other than feeding it right. So I'm enjoying the best health of my life ever. After I just told you I'm dealing with a health issue. How can that be? But since my early 20s, I've never been this healthy. But there are times when things we've done in the past that eroded our health can rise up and cause significant health issues despite our having turned the ship around. Now, I've been on a better health track now for 10 years at least. I've dabbled in it for 30 years. There's no question about it, but I really didn't know what I was doing. The last 3 to 4 years have been my best efforts, and I think the most refined efforts because I really feel that I have a very good understanding of what creates better health in the body. And I know that my body is always working to heal itself, no matter what kind of symptomatology might come up from time to time. So, just kind of as a reflection of the better health that I'm enjoying, I've been in different stores in the last week, and twice I've had people say when they found out I was 60 years of age, I never would have guessed it. Now, I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you that it's reflected in the way you look and the way you come across to people. There's this vibrancy of health that you get that's maybe reflected in enthusiasm, but also, your skin texture, the way you basically look. And so these younger people thought I looked much younger, which we all need that once in a while, don't we? But for much of my life, I've caused many health issues for myself that have, recurred over the years. Some of those problems create deeper problems in your health that can pop up from time to time. So I've had problems with tooth abscesses since I hit about 30 years of age. I've probably had 4 or 5 different abscesses, and my diet was terrible all through my youth and into my 30s. I drank soda, beer, probably till I was 40, actually, to be honest. I drank sodas, beer, ate sugary foods, and far too many fatty foods, including a lot of meat and cheese. And I gave little thought to what I would eat when I went out for a meal with my wife or friends to a restaurant. I ate whatever struck me as tasty at the moment. Really gave little thought to my health. Why do we do that? Because there's no immediate payback. There's no immediate penalty to be paid, except maybe a bad case of heartburn or getting bloated or something like that. But those are minimal, and we have ways of dealing with that now. But the big health issues, they don't show up right away. But I was overweight. I tipped the scales at 230 pounds more than once in my life. I never really understood the gravity of what that extra weight did to me until now, at 170 pounds, I feel so much better overall, except for that one health issue I'm dealing with, and I've been dealing with for several months. So this goes back to before my daughter's wedding in April. It was sometime in late March. I was eating lunch when suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt a severe pain, a cramp-like pain, really in my chest. I knew it wasn't a heart attack, but it was like a knot in my lower chest. It was like somebody took my stomach and tied it in a knot and pulled it tight. And the food I was eating got stuck and just wouldn't go down, and that gives you a bad feeling too. So mind you, I was eating probably oatmeal because that's my normal lunch. It's not like I was trying to swallow half a cow or a hamburger on a bun or something. But it really felt like it could have been something that huge. It was a tremendous pain. The cramp lasted about 30 to 45 seconds, but it felt like a lifetime. Now, mind you, this is a guy who's had 17 kidney stones. I know what hard pain feels like. This pain was so bad, I would put it right on the scale of a kidney stone. That's how bad it was. So let me tell you right now, the oatmeal was not the cause of this pain. I can hear it now. Oh, see, eating all the healthy food doesn't get you anywhere. I'm sure there's naysayers out there right now and saying, well, I'll just keep on doing what I always do. Well, God bless you. Do it at your own risk. Because I'm telling you now that had I not become a huge fan of oatmeal and fruits and vegetables, I very well may have been experiencing a heart attack at that moment. And my diet and my lifestyle have saved me from experiencing any more kidney stones. None in the past 9 years after having a new stone every 1.5 to 2 years for a total of 17 stones. Think about that, passing 17 kidney stones. And I have no, I'm not asking for sympathy. I know there's people with worse problems than that. But 25 years of needless suffering, basically. My teeth no longer hurt like they have from time to time over the past 30 years. I breathe very easily. I sleep deeply without snoring now. I didn't used to. I snored for decades. And I don't have to get up 3 or more times at night to urinate, which is a frequent problem with men over really 40 these days. I think more clearly than I ever have in my life. So I can tell you with total confidence that my health is far better than it's ever been in my life. The only thing that's different, besides the fact that I'm older, is that I eat a very healthy diet day in and day out. And I make sure I get a little bit of exercise. I don't overdo it with that. But without question, a whole food, plant-based diet is the answer to so many devastating health problems so many of you are having right now. But what you sometimes cannot overcome are the major mistakes of the past that set us up for significant health problems as time passes, like the one I'm suffering now. So this sudden gripping pain was scary, no doubt. But life is there. My daughter's wedding was getting close at that time, so I did the best I could to keep a good face through it. And I would bet that the only person at the wedding who knew I was having a health issue was my wife, Niecy. So I'm pretty good at getting through stuff like that. But after the wedding, when we got home, I made some halfway attempts at curing the problem myself. I can tell you from experience that halfway measures never, ever get the job done. If you're making halfway health issues, halfway efforts at restoring health, you're going to be disappointed, I promise you. The other mistake we make at times is failing to persist in our efforts at healing. Real healing takes time. We humans are in too much of a hurry. We think that things should happen immediately. And because of that, we miss out on some incredible health because of our haste. So initially, I thought my problem was a severe case of GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease. I just thought I was getting a sudden rush of acid reflux in the esophagus, and it did burn, but it felt like a knot. I've had a significant case of GERD in the past, and I was able to get past it by simply eating less and eating healthier for a month or two. So initially, this felt a lot like that. I do believe the reason I had the problem is the fact that the last tooth abscess I had, I tried and I succeeded in getting past the pain and got significant relief using an antibiotic and Advil. I avoided the dreaded root canal, of which I've had several. The drugs worked, but my latest problem was either one of those two things, the antibiotic or the Advil. So I know several times I took an antibiotic or Advil and went to bed shortly thereafter. or even maybe laid down to go to bed and felt the tooth aching, and I got up and took some Advil and went right back to bed. I really never thought much about that, or the burning I felt in my esophagus at the time. But now I understand the pill was not all the way down in my stomach and probably burned a hole in the mucous membrane in my esophagus. This probably eventually led to an ulcer and the acid reflux, and what I believe I have now is a stricture. And I'll explain that here in the next few minutes and toward the second half of the show. But after that happened a few times, I read on the bottle, and the instructions said explicit. I'm a guy. I don't read instructions, okay? I know all you ladies out there are going, well, why don't you read the instructions? Well, you guys think we know everything. We think we understand directions and all that just inherently, and sometimes we don't. So now understand the pill was not all the way down in my stomach, and it probably burned a hole in the mucous membrane, and that probably eventually led to an ulcer, and then the acid reflux keeps annoying that ulcer and probably led to this stricture that I believe I have. So I was taking sometimes 4 Advil 3 times a day, for several weeks. That couldn't be good. I saved the tooth, but at what cost to my health? I got past the inflammation, and I got it under control. And to this day, I can control that simply by diet. If I avoid sugar, I don't have a problem with it. So do yourself a favor, though. If you have to take any medication for any reason, follow the instructions on the bottle carefully. Drink a full glass of water with your pills. Your doctor, I'm sure, tells you that all the time, and he's got good reason for telling you that, believe it or not. So drinking a full glass. When you take a pill, it's not like you swallow it and it drops into your stomach. It has to be pushed down by peristaltic waves, by the muscular contractions of the esophagus. So does water. So does anything that you swallow. And so, when the pill bottle says don't lie down for 15 to 30 minutes or, drink a full glass of water, make sure you do those things. You'll save yourself the agony that I've been going through. You save yourself a lot of issues. And you know what? You may be like me and think, oh, that'll never happen to me. Well, let me tell you, it can happen to people with the best of intentions. So back to my current problem. So what I really believe now that I have now is a stricture of the esophagus. That's where the muscular tube that connects your mouth with your stomach gets almost a spasm in it, a narrowed section that keeps food from passing into the stomach. It's not supposed to be that way. And a stricture can happen for many reasons. Some are benign, some not so good. But when you swallow, you need that smooth contraction of the muscles all the way down, and you need a smooth opening all the way down for food to get to your stomach. Chronic GERD, chronic gastroesophageal reflux disease, can cause a stricture. The constant irritation of the acid from your stomach into the esophagus can actually cause a stricture or a tightening or a swollen area in the esophagus. The tissues inside the esophagus simply get irritated to the point where they thicken. So the biggest part of the pain and dysfunction, though, is really thought to be caused by esophagitis, by the inflammation of the tissues. But I'll tell you, when you go to swallow food and it doesn't go down time after time after time, it gets a little concerning. And whether it's a stricture, which makes a lot of sense to me, or whether it's that inflammation, which is reflected in the burning and pain that you get with eating, it's, makes you a little bit concerned about the possible cause. So, besides GERD and besides some other benign things, like from the pills, which is what I think caused mine, the irritation and the burning of the mucus lining, cancer can also cause a stricture. So I'm well aware of that possibility. But I've decided that because, it seems like I'm given all these health issues so that I can find a solution to it for people, a simple solution, and a way to fix it and to heal it in a way that your body is better for it. I've decided that I'm going to try a mostly natural approach, although my plan does include the use of an over-the-counter medication as well to try to heal this, to decrease the stomach acid production for 2 to 3 weeks. So I plan to work at it, and I plan to do natural things. And we're going to try to heal it up naturally. So this is my effort to hopefully prove or disprove the ability to do this thing naturally, and I'm making a good effort at it. So my good friend, who's the doctor I choose for myself and my family, recommended I get scoped sooner than later. And it happens to be, just in case it happens to be something more significant. He also recommended this proton pump inhibitor, like Prevacid, Nexium, Prilosec, one of these, to name a few examples, just to decrease that acid production for a while to give it a chance to heal. And that makes sense to me. Have you ever had a cut or a ulcer or something on your skin that's healing, and every time you get it wet, it kind of gets re-annoyed, re-aggravated? So it makes sense to me that if we can decrease that acid production, it gives that wound a chance to heal in the esophagus. So, his advice, I take very seriously. I trust him like nobody else. But I have no family history of any cancer. I'm not a smoker. I've never been a heavy drinker. And I've not been exposed to any really harsh chemicals in the last 30 years. Plus, I've been eating healthfully for many years. So I'm betting that I have a strong chance of getting past this, and I'm betting that it's nothing serious like cancer. So I'm going to give it a couple of weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, and I can always go the medical route. And the hard part is I can't eat much in the way of solid food. It's been difficult since March. But it's amazing how we adapt when we have to. In the last few weeks, I've been able to keep my weight steady just by finding ways to eat foods that are non-solid foods and to get them down and to keep my nourishment levels up. And as a matter of fact, I've been exercising just like I always do. I have no loss of energy. I feel great. So I have to think that it's something benign, and I'm thinking that I can heal it. So I've set a plan to fix my problem, and I'm going to really work at that here. We're going to be coming up toward the end of the segment here, and when we go to commercial, I'll come back and I'll go through all this. But I want to go through my plan because I want you to know that I've done a lot of research on this, and the things that I see that can have a healing effect on the body are things that I'm putting into this plan. Now, trust me, I'm not one of these guys that goes, oh, you got to take all these vitamins, do herbal this, and this heals that. Most of that is all hogwash, folks. Most of that is all sales gimmicks that have been passed on from person to person to where it almost becomes gospel, and it's ridiculous. And it leads many people down the wrong path, and they're sadly disappointed in the results they get. And they end up going the medical route and getting treatment, and maybe it's too late for some people. But there are things that have good science behind them that are proven. And the funny thing is, fruits and vegetables are one of those things. And there are a few other things that go with that. And of course, I'm limited in my ability to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables right now, although I can do some steamed things. So my plan includes, many of those things, but it also includes some herbal things that might seem a little surprising to you. And it also includes an over-the-counter medication, which I've already mentioned. So it's not pie in the sky, and there are good recommendations behind this from reputable medical sources and scientific sources, and the research is there. So I've done my research on this. I'm not going into it blind. I know what I'm up against, and I know what the potential downside is. But we're going to give it a shot. When I come back, we're going to talk about it. This is Dr. David Vitko. You're listening to Enjoy Incredible Health. Be back in a few minutes, folks.
Welcome back to Incredible Health with Dr. David Vitko.
Alrighty, we're back. I'm going to get through some material here. I want to talk to you about what my plan is for dealing with my esophagitis and stricture honestly am not positive which one it is, but I have to think that the fact that I can't swallow whole food tells me there's a stricture. And so I'm going to go with that until hopefully I won't have to get a diagnosis made, official diagnosis, but all the symptoms point to that. So I'm going to get through some material. I want to talk about that. And then if anybody wants to call in, if you have a comment, if you've had a stricture or if you've had a severe ulcer or something like that, I'd love to hear from you. 330-729-9977. That's 729-9977. And we'll discuss that if you'd like to call in. But so for now, I'm going to tell you, I hesitated to do this, folks, because I don't want to come across like I'm whining or complaining, because I'm not. I am blessed with incredible health at this point, and one little health crisis it's a little stumbling block for me. If it's a stricture, it is what it is. Whatever the cause, I'm going to do my best to get through it and deal with it and fix it naturally, because I believe that's the most powerful approach. If that fails, I'll go the medical route. I don't have my head stuck in the sand. So I've resigned myself to a natural healing effort for this problem. So if it doesn't work, I'll get scoped, and if I have to, I'll get it mechanically expanded. That's what they do. And but I can't help but have this really strong faith in the body and its ability to heal itself. I've seen too many amazing things. If the body can heal diabetes, and if the body can heal rheumatoid arthritis, and if the body can heal, get rid of high cholesterol and high triglycerides and clean the blood out and rejuvenate the blood, which it does thoroughly every 3 months, then it sure as heck can fix this, a little mechanical problem. I just have to be smart enough to help it along and not get in the way of the healing. Yeah. There is that outside chance it's something worse. If it happens to be cancerous, the survival rate's only 3 to 6 months. So what am I sacrificing to go this route? Instead of, if I go, get checked out and they go, oh yeah, you have cancer. How does that help my picture at all? So I'd rather live that 3 to 6 months in the kind of health I feel right now. I feel great, other than not being able to eat. So we'll deal with it. But anyway, here's my plan. There are certain things I can get to my stomach. Yeah, from my mouth to my stomach. These include oatmeal with coconut milk and cinnamon, which is something I eat often anyway. Cantaloupe, honeydew melon. And by the way, if you haven't gotten a golden honeydew, I've found them at Sam's Club, probably Walmart, and some other Giant Eagle probably has it too. But golden honeydews are just amazing, and I highly recommend you try one. Let it sit on your counter for a week before you cut it, but it is amazing. So honeydew melon, I can eat potatoes, white or sweet, as long as they're mashed or baked and kind of scrunched up, and I chew them up real good. So steamed broccoli, zucchini, cauliflower, I simply have to chew these up really well. As long as they're steamed, I don't overcook them. I don't want to bland, turn them into some white-looking piece of yuck. I still want the green stuff in it, and, the chlorophyll's helpful to the body, and all the nutrients, I want that in there. So I steam them, and I chew them up really good. And that seems to do well. And as a matter of fact, they know that if we can keep up the fiber intake, that actually helps healing with ulcers and esophagitis and gastritis and, irritations of the lining of the digestive tract. So the easiest thing to swallow for me is a melon smoothie with lettuce in it. And this tastes great and has a whole lot of nutrition in it. And I like to do that in the morning. And I mixed some of that golden honeydew with watermelon, which surprisingly, I can't eat watermelon. Even if I chew it up well, it irritates my esophagus badly. But if I make a smoothie out of it with half a banana, with this golden honeydew and watermelon, it's fantastic, and it goes down really well. And you can chill it or whatever you want. You could put some ice cubes in it and make it a slushie if you want. But the smoothie is great. So I have typically I eat oatmeal at lunchtime. That's just what I do with fruit in it. So there's no big change there. Cinnamon is helpful. Cinnamon is known to be an anti-inflammatory in the body. And so I use a little bit of cinnamon, and I love coconut milk to give it a little coconutty flavor. and it goes down easily. So, and then for dinner, I have either a smoothie again or potatoes and veggies, and I'm fine with that. Funny thing, I cannot eat rice. Can't get rice down to save my life. And so I had to give up rice, and I love long grain wild rice, but I can't do that. So, but the potatoes are great, and I love potatoes, and they're very healthful. I just take the skins off because those kind of get stuck more easily. But so the funny thing is that except for not being able to eat salad very well, which I dearly love my salads, and thank God Nisi is able to enjoy the lettuce out of my garden right now. I wish I could. Well, I'm enjoying it in my smoothie, so that's good. And for me, that's the one thing that hurts. And then I also have to avoid the temptation to drink a cold beer, which I really cannot handle at all. And the funny thing is, most liquid things I can drink without a problem. But, it's a cold beer seems to be God's message to me not to drink beer anymore. Dang. Nothing I love better than a Stella after mowing the lawn on a hot day. But anyway, if that's the worst I have to give up, then hey, so be it. So I've got a long-term outlook. I'm not going to be held to this strict diet for the rest of my life. I'm hoping that within 2 to 3 weeks we can make a difference and start introducing a few things that I enjoy, like maybe a piece of pizza or a sandwich of some sort. It'll be a veggie sandwich, but just the same. So, we're going to go for this for a few weeks and see what happens. But anyway, I believe there's a chance I can beat this without medical intervention. So if not, I still have that route open to me. And but this is my chance to see how much healing the body is capable of. And so we're gonna give it a shot. So I am taking Prevacid every day for about 2 weeks. It's a recommendation of my doctor, and, it is a good route to go. And by the way, my doctor's open to the natural way to go. He's a little concerned about this issue, but he says, yeah, give it a couple of weeks, see what you can do. But he said, try the Prevacid. And so I'm doing the Prevacid. If that helps to reduce that acid load for a while, then, hey, that's a big, big plus. And so, why not use all the tools at your disposal? I'm sure there are purists out there that are going, oh, he's not a natural health guy. He's taking over-the-counter medications. Well, you know what? Give me a break. This is, we're in modern times. If there is something that can help that is readily available and that has little downside, as long as you don't stay on it for too long, I understand there is a downside in the long term on this stuff. And it's not like I'm abusing my diet or anything. I'm just trying to get on track with this, trying to heal something. So you use the tools that are available to you. And by the way, if any of you have these issues that I have right now, not being able to swallow, and you feel like there's something stuck, go see your doctor. Don't sit and wait for me to see what happens here. There are times when this is a serious thing, and you need to go get checked. The difference is I have enough knowledge to research it far enough and really understand what I'm dealing with. And besides that, I'm okay with the consequences, whichever way it goes. You may not feel that way, or you may think that way right now, but you may not feel that way down the road. So think about it and go see your doctor and get checked and know what's going on. And best yet, if you get that gnawing pain in your stomach, and go see your doctor before it gets serious, before it gets to this point where you get something like a stricture, which is much more difficult to deal with, because your doctor has ways of dealing with things. So let me, I'm going to go ahead and take a phone call here, and I think line 2, Mike, first? Okay, I'm going to do line 2 first, and this is Bill and Sharon. Hi, Bill. It's Dr. Vitko. How can I help you?
Hi, Dr. Vitko. Well, I'm finding what you're saying very interesting today. And, some things I find you think there can be simple answers, and they're not as simple as you might think. But the things you're describing, I'm wondering if you've had new stressors brought into your life, or potentially some new environmental changes that you may not be quite aware of. But it sounds like this could be a stress-related situation.
Nah, all the science out there has disproved the stress theory for ulcers. And as a matter of fact, H. pylori is the most common cause of ulcers. But so can, there's many things, but I know mine was related to using medication. And there's no question in my mind. I can think back and place the time when I felt the burning the first time, and that probably was well progressed at that point. So, yeah, I appreciate your thought on that, though, Bill.
Okay.
And so have a great day.
It was just a thought.
Okay, yep, thank you. So let's go to George on line 1. Hi, George. Dr. Vitko here.
Yeah, doctor. I remember back around 1961 or 1962, when I was only about 12 years old, I was watching TV, and they were interviewing this 120-year-old guy in China, So this guy was actually climbing right up the side of a mountain,
That's incredible.
It's hard to believe it. Well, it could have been, And they asked him, what do you recommend as far as food? And this guy shook his finger. He says, do not eat anything that comes out of a can.
That makes sense.
In other words, if you're going to eat beans, buy some beans in the produce section, and maybe you cook them, or they're supposed to be good to eat them raw. Some people eat raw beans.
Right.
Or if you're going to eat tomatoes, buy a tomato. Yeah, it was 120. He said, "Don't eat it out of a can."
Yeah.
So that might be something that is important. Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate the call very much. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
So, good advice. And I always try to eat out of the garden when I can. And isn't this a spectacular summer? Once we got past the rain, the gardens are doing very well. The corn that got planted and actually got a start is doing amazingly well. I'm amazed at how tall the corn is that I've seen. And it's kind of killing me because this is my time of year. I love whole fruits and vegetables, and God knows I miss them, but it's just a temporary thing. So I appreciate your guys' input, Bill and George. Thank you for calling. So back to this. I'm also doing a few things to help it along a little better. I am doing some relaxation stuff, as Bill alluded to. So I'm doing a warm bath. I take a warm bath pretty much every day now, trying to de-stress a little bit. I don't feel stressed. As a matter of fact, I have 1,000 irons in the fire, but that makes me feel alive. I don't feel stressed over it. And I enjoy the work that I'm doing. And I enjoy being here, being able to share this with you. I feel blessed in that. And, the de-stressing I think is helpful. And some other things that I'm doing is I have elevated my upper body for sleeping and to keep that acid down. And I try to sleep on my left side because that's a natural position for the stomach for the acid to gravitate toward the lowest part of the stomach and have less chance of getting it up into the esophagus. And I find that does help quite a bit. And I sleep quite deeply now, too, folks. Even though, I'm going through this little bit of a crisis, I actually sleep deeply. I don't snore anymore. And, I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning refreshed and I feel really good. So, that's not an issue. But I did elevate my bed, and I highly recommend if you have acid reflux, it's not only a way to alleviate the symptoms, it's a way to heal it because the less irritation you cause, the less chance of that continuing on and getting worse. I use this analogy with my patients all the time when they come in with back pain. If you have back pain and you don't give it a rest, you're just ticking that thing off over and over and over, and you're never giving it a chance to heal. My analogy is if I was a roofer and I hammered nails in every day into shingles the old-fashioned way with a hammer, and I smacked my thumb at least once a day, and I guarantee you I would because my carpentry skills are not that great, and but the thumb will never heal. But if you stop hitting it, it'll heal. It's amazing. So it's the same thing with this acid reflux. If you find that, number one, you shouldn't eat and go to bed within a couple hours. It should be at least 3 or 4 hours between when you eat and you go to bed. And I highly recommend not having meat or cheese at your late meal, your last meal of the day, because that takes longer to digest and it creates more acid. And so, you probably want to make sure that you wait at least 3 hours after you eat before you go to bed and prop your upper body up. Some authors say prop the bed up 4 inches at the head. I don't see how that really helps. I try to get my upper body into a fairly significant incline, and that does make a difference. And so I would go that route. So that's something else that you definitely want to do. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm drinking some herb tea, and it's not because I think, herb tea is the answer, but there are some that have anti-inflammatory properties, and the ones that have chamomile in them are relaxing for smooth muscle. And also some of them, like I drink one with licorice, slippery elm, mushroom root, and fennel, and cinnamon bark in it, and that is definitely a good anti-inflammatory combination, and it goes right on the tissue. Now, I got another phone call here on line 1. Let's take this call and see who it is. Good morning. This is Dr. Vitko. Can I help you?
Hey, Dr. Vitko. I've had a problem with GERD my whole life, probably, and I also have a problem when I eat. Sometimes I have to regurgitate my food and re-chew it,
Right.
re-swallow it, and regurgitate it again, chew it, and re-swallow it. So I've already had the scope. Now, you said everything looks okay, but for some reason, certain things I just have to re-chew it, you know what I mean?
Right. Let me answer that off the line because we're going to be going to break here, and I appreciate the call. I'll get on that. Okay. So we'll talk about that when we come back and try to give him an answer on that. And we'll just have a few minutes here, and we'll be back for a couple of minutes to finish up. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to Incredible Health with Dr. David Vitko.
Okay, we're back. No time to fool around. We only have a few minutes, but that last caller who has a chronic GERD problem, or potentially he's got a chronic gastroirritation or like a gastritis or esophagitis. And so he really needs to get that checked a little bit further. So if I can give you this advice, very often something called H. pylori or Helicobacter pylori is the causative agent. It's a bacteria, and there is a good treatment for that. So if your doctor can test you specifically for that to see if that is what's causing your chronic issue, you should get it done, because there's a combination of medications that can actually get rid of that. And once it's healed, there's a very small chance of it coming back. And so it's a good way to go. So I would go see your doctor and say, look, can you test me for H. pylori? And he'll know exactly what it is, and there's ways that they can test for it. The best way to test is if they scope you and take a biopsy. But, there's other ways, too. I think there are blood tests that they can do, and also there's some kind of breath test they can do and measure what you give off, the gases and things like that. But if it's H. pylori, there is an answer for it, and maybe that's your answer. So otherwise, if I had that issue, I would do what I'm doing. The things I'm doing, I've researched very well. So, elevate your upper body when you're sleeping. Make sure you stay that way all night. Do things like, and even in this H. pylori treatment, they recommend, it sounds stupid, but something like Pepto-Bismol, which is bismuth, as a treatment to coat the lining and give it a chance to heal. Is something you can do. And the over-the-counter GERD treatments in the like Prevacid or one of those that actually helps decrease acid production. The thing is, I would not continue with a bad diet and take that and think that you're all hunky-dory and everything's great, because if you take those proton pump inhibitors for too long, they're known to cause several different problems in the body. One of those is osteoporosis. And another one is you can get this something called SIBO, which is a small bowel, small intestine bacterial overgrowth is what the name is, and it is because you're killing off the acid that doesn't normally keep the bacteria in check, and the wrong bacteria grow in your bowel. So there's all kind of issues that those things cause if you do them too long. They say do it less than a year. I'm going to do it for a few weeks, and that's it at the most. So look, folks, next week we'll touch a little bit on this again. I'll give you an update on what's going on, and I want to be able to help you to be healthier, maybe through my weaknesses and my efforts. Have a great week. This is Dr. David Vitko, and don't forget to check my website, drvitkohealth.com. See you next week.